Good morning, Morning Musings by Melinda. Happy Monday. What's today's date? 7/12/2021. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. It's a 3. It's about body, mind, and spirit today. Taking good care of yourself. And today we're going to talk about the word betrayal. A lot of times we think of betrayal as somebody cheating on another person, but there are all kinds of ways that betrayal can happen. What is the energy behind somebody betraying another? Insecurity. Bottom line, insecurity, greed, the negative factors of fear. As I've said to you on previous occasions, only two emotions on this planet: love or fear. Everything else is a footnote of one of those emotions. So if you're angry, you're afraid of something. If you're jealous, you're afraid of something. If you're a hoarder, you're afraid of something. Those negative emotions always mean fear. So when we talk about someone cheating on another person, first of all, it depends on whether it's a serial cheater or not. Somebody who serially cheats is a person that's terribly insecure and afraid they're not good enough. So they need that first blush of in love, or those endorphins pouring in their brain to reassure themselves that they're okay. Otherwise, sometimes people have an affair or a betrayal because, it's a symptom of a bad marriage. It's really not usually the cause of a bad marriage. I've worked with many people who've had affairs and actually been able to repair the marriage because the partner that was betrayed took personal responsibility for their share in making the other, making is the wrong word, I shouldn't have used that, in contributing to the other partner's need for abating their insecurity or assuaging their wounded feelings or whatever. But there are ways that you can betray someone without actually having that kind of an affair. First of all, number one, complaining about your partner and the relationship to someone that you're attracted to. That's called an emotional affair. And an emotional affair is just as damaging as a physical affair. In fact, sometimes a physical affair is not about intimacy at all. It's there's nothing intimate about it. So emotional affair can sometimes be more damaging to a relationship because it's intimate, right? Number two, prioritizing work, a hobby, or another passion above your relationship. Your relationships should be number one. All relationships should be number one. You should put everything else aside and focus on a quality relationship, because truly, what do we have at the end of our life? The relationships that we were able to foster and the relationships that we allowed to grow through love inside of us. That's what we take with us to the other side of the veil, not the other kinds of things that we tell ourselves are so worth doing, but the relationships. You got to stop and pause and make time for each other, because that's the thing that makes us healthy and balanced and, move appropriately in life. Number three, divulging private information about your partner without their consent. I often use either my own life or my own karmic profile to teach, or Bill's, my beautiful significant other, who always gives me permission because he too wants to be able to contribute to people learning and understanding a karmic profile and how we grow through our karmic profile and turn out to be moving our energy towards the finish line with soul growth. So I always ask him for permission. Lying or withholding information about your finances. That's a big way that partners cheat on each other, is through financial ways and not allowing the partner to know what you're up to financially. That's a big form of betrayal. Keeping secrets from your partner. That's pretty obvious there. Number 7, disrespecting or criticizing your partner in front of other people. I think I do that some. I think I tease my husband some. I oftentimes have sarcastic humor that may not be fair. So I've got to watch that, because I would never mean to betray Bill in any way, shape, or form. So it's something that you have to look at yourself and see if you do any of those things, then you're actually betraying. Sometimes a friend will betray another by divulging a secret that you've said, please keep this secret to yourself. And it's maybe you betray yourself by telling a friend that you know who can't keep secrets the secret. And today at McDonald's, because I always stop and get myself an iced tea in the morning to last me all day, a man betrayed himself because he got so ticked off that he was waiting in line. They must have had a short staff or something was going on, and he drove his big white truck over the side, and he was almost to the window, and he got stuck with his wheel spinning in the air. And so he betrayed himself with silly nonsense. And that's the way we betray ourselves often, and we tell ourselves stories that are not true. That's another way we betray ourselves. We tell lies and then we believe them. That's another way that we betray ourselves. I think the worst form of betrayal is the betrayal that we do to ourselves, right? If you have a habit or a condition that you have been avoiding, that's a way to betray yourself. Meaning if you're still smoking, if you are justifying behaviors that are not working for you, that's a form of betraying yourself. So what are 12 healthy ways to deal with betrayal? Well, number one, acknowledge it, especially when it's self-betrayal. At my age, sometimes I feel like my body's betraying me when I get out of bed in the morning. Bill and I did a lot of physical work over the weekend. I got up this morning and said, oh boy, I know my age today. But acknowledge that you've been hurt, that you've been betrayed. Have you ever betrayed somebody and you didn't mean to? One time I had a friend in high school, and she meant a great deal to me. And I guess looking back at it from my perspective now, I knew that her mom was very hurt, wounded by a divorce. And I said to her one day, well, it takes two, doesn't it? Meaning that her mother must have contributed to something. I don't know where I got that wisdom from at 16 years old, but somehow I knew that. And she never spoke to me again. Ever, never, never. Good morning, Lori. So I betrayed her without meaning to. Sometimes that can happen. Get angry. That's a number two healthy way to deal with betrayal. We always are afraid of anger. Anger can actually be a direction or a map. If it's used wisely and efficiently, it's an emotion that can be a catalyst for movement or change or growth. So don't be afraid to get angry. People who stuff their anger are not doing themselves any favor. That's a form of betraying oneself. Act out, and I don't mean act out in an inappropriate way. I mean scream into a pillow, journal, run, get it out physically somehow. Crying is definitely okay, right? Crying is okay, and God gave us tears in order to cleanse our soul, so it's okay to cry. Sleep on it. Sometimes if you sleep on something, you realize that you may have made something bigger, a mountain out of a molehill, as they say, bigger in your head than was true. I give myself a 3-day window of sulking on it, which is number 6, which isn't really me sulking, but rather pondering, meditating, praying, and looking at it. Number 7, getting back on track, getting your bearings right, using the compass that you have for your own source, self, and soul in order to readjust. Number 8, leave it behind and move forward. Neutralize it. Number 9, if you can't get over it, get some help. And number 10, this one is confront the person, and that may be or may not be a wise thing depending on the person. I always feel that my friendships are strong enough that if I felt something, I could go to them and say, hey, and you know what? I know that if they came to me and said, hey, that didn't feel good, you said that or you did that I would actually acknowledge and try to change the behavior. So depends on whether you have relationships with emotionally mature people or not. Number 11, remove yourself from that toxic person or space. And number 12, don't let it happen again. Okay, again, all the energy around any of this is a frequency of energy of insecurity, not being good enough, and not being empowered within oneself to be able to connect to the soul and the source. So anyway, it looks like we have a lot of people today. Good morning. I hope you're going to have a wonderful Monday. We are doing Law of Attraction at 6:30 on Thursday night, Zoom. If you have not signed up for that class, class. We may have a few more spots. I do not know. Take a look on the website to see. That is